Hello everyone, welcome to Stable and Scale, one of the place where you can learn and share wisdom. I am Lakshman. Today we are gonna see what is YAML pipeline, how to set up and use it. So let's get started. Let us see what is YAML. YAML is nothing but a serialized language which is used to do some programming tasks and for everyday works, and it is a human friendly designed so that we can able to read it. So YAML it actually stands for yet another markup language, and it's predominantly used for the CI/CD pipelines, mostly on Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions, AWS DevOps, and Terraform, and those all kind of stuffs. So we will see how the YAML pipeline actually the file which looks like. So it will be looking like this. So if you are familiar, if you gone with some previous videos, you will may be familiar with this. This is the first .NET API which is we used to create on previous videos. If you don't have, look for it, and I will have descriptions on it for it. Okay, so each and every pipeline YAML file will consist of certain tasks and certain declarables. Okay, so in YAML there are lot of options. For the first one, which will be like a single job options, and the second one is like a multi-step jobs on the YAML. Most predominantly nowadays we are using a multi-level YAML task. Okay, which means it may have a multiple jobs. The jobs which may have for build, the job which for deploy. So you can see that this is a .NET 6.0 build setup YAML file which with steps and deploy option. So we will go deep right now. So I will click raw so we can able to view it. So this is the YAML file. So each and every steps consists with on push branches. So you may have a lot of options here. On it, instead of push, we can may have some other options, workflow dispatches, on other pull requests. It can be trigger. So on, it's fully dependent on the triggering part for the YAML pipeline. So the next thing is jobs. What are all the jobs we need to run? For example, if you click a button here, the jobs runs is comes up this prompt and with the names and with the folders which I have. So this is like a job, and I've included, I can remove. So this is a job. Likewise, so to add a Facebook which is in zoom in and zoom out, those kind of stuff can be defined as job in layman terms. So the build is the job which, if we need something things to run, we need a platform, right? The platform is actually runs on with Ubuntu latest, which is a normal VM or a system which you can take care. If you're gonna build a .NET node or any application, you need a system, right? This is a system which we are going to contribute. So the next step is we need to define the steps, as steps may consist of options and what are all the things which we need to use, those kind of stuff. So if you need to use actions checkout, which means we need to first check out the source code from the repo. That for that we are using they are using .NET actions checkout. Once the data code is available, there was a task called setup .NET core with the actions setup .NET v1. This is the action which is going to use. Each and every steps consist of some kind of users and actions. You can see all it consists of use and actions, whichever it's not a default part of an application or system. So if you install the .NET SDK, this .NET CLI will be available and .NET Publish will be available. And if you uses the artifacts, this artifact options will be available so that they can get the root node of the system and they can publish it. Okay, so like this. And once this is done, so it will goes for the deploy options, deploy same system. And there was some prerequisites, which means first there was a two task. If the first task is completed, then only I need to start the second task. So it can be started simultaneously. If this needs is not there, both the tasks will start simultaneously. It's like an event grid trigger. Once a trigger happens, two tasks will go on separate lines. Okay, so once the build is done, so it will trigger these options and name it in the production. So whatever the uploaded here, it's downloads and uploading it to the web apps, which is ASP static web app, Azure web app. So it will be deployed there. And this is the one of the pipeline which is created on Azure DevOps. So with the name, if you see here, it is on in the starts of on. For trigger, it is directly variables with trigger and branches, which includes main. So and it has some certain variables with options. If you see here, it's in the job and it's a stage. It's considered into one each and every stage. This is a single stage application which directly deploys the code to the static web app. Okay, so here the build and deploy is simply the job, and there was a one single task is a static web app. If you are familiar with static web app, it we can just provide a source code, it will directly build and deploy our Angular application. This is an Angular application, so it directly gets and deploys there in and there. So if we need to build our own code, so we need to put the multiple stages here as stage build and stage deploy, and we can have a build section and we can have a release section with some inputs custom defined. So this is how the YAML pipeline which will be predominantly used. And YAML is the format where it's human readable, so you can easily see with this default names, runs and options. Initially it will be like pretty much you can just need to understand. If you start reading line by line, sure you will able to get understand and work starting with the YAML pipeline. Instead of some classic ones in Azure DevOps, we still use classic ones, the classic other options or for builds and deployments. It will makes you easy, so you won't need to make a custom if its a deployment is more going to be a mission critical, and if you want to store and the configuration inside every of your code, YAML is the best choice for you. With this, I hope you can get started with your YAML pipeline. If you really enjoyed this video, kindly give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification on so you won't miss out any new video. Until then, I am Lakshman signing off. Enjoy coding.